Welcome, outsider. Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood? Beneath the glamour and dazzling lights lies a dark world where unsettling secrets and mysterious pacts shape the fates of the stars. Between inexplicable tragedies and excessive ambitions, fame often has a price that few are willing to pay, but many have already paid. Do you want to unravel these mysteries? Subscribe to the channel now, share video with other curious people, and leave in the comments your theory about what is hidden behind the Hollywood glitz. Anyone who loves mysteries will love this exclusive surprise. Darkness is waiting for you. Dark Pox, master of the Hollywood Hills, under the glittering glow of the Hollywood sign. The whispers of an unsettling legend echo through the hills. It is said that Alexander Hargrave, a figure shrouded in mist, controlled the destinies of those who sought fame. He was not a director, producer, or actor. His presence transcended the mundane, an intermediary between dreams and nightmares, promising meteoric success to those willing to pay the price. Hargrave was a man with a mesmerizing presence. Elegant and charismatic, he moved through exclusive Hollywood parties, as if he were a ghost among the living. Always impeccably dressed, he seemed to know each rising star before they were recognized by the world. Ambitious young men sought him out in secret, but Hargrave had his own method of choosing. He said that success was not for everyone, only for those with the right spark. Do you want to be remembered forever? That was the question he asked with a serenity that sounded more like a challenge than a promise. It was on one of these nights that he met Lillian Hayes. At 19, Lillian was an aspiring young woman with bright eyes and a smile that could light up any room. Hargrave saw something different in her. "You don't just want to be a star," he said, watching her closely. "You want to transcend." At first, Lillian hesitated. Something about Hargrave was both fascinating and disturbing. But the dream of escaping obscurity was irresistible. She accepted the offer, not fully understanding what was being given or taken away. Soon the promise was fulfilled. Leading roles appeared out of nowhere. Renowned directors competed for her presence, and critics described her as the revelation of a generation. But success came with a price. At the height of her fame, Lillian began to disappear for days, returning with mysterious marks on her body, geometric cuts and bruises that she never explained. As time passed, his friends noticed disturbing changes. Lillian's natural glow disappeared, leaving in its place a dark, heavy aura. His radiant smile became mechanical, and his eyes, once full of life, began to reflect a deep emptiness. She withdrew from everyone, sinking into a state of increasing paranoia. "I feel like I've made a pact with the shadows," she confided to a friend one night as she stared blankly into space. The ending was as mysterious as the beginning. Weeks after a big event in which Lillian seemed nervous and distant, her body was found floating in the Hollywood reservoir. Police classified the case as a suicide, but letters found in his apartment revealed a darker story. Lillian wrote of an inhuman presence that watched her and whispered her name. "He is here," one of the letters said. "I paid, but he keeps charging." As for Hargrave, he disappeared as mysteriously as he appeared. But there are those who claim he still roams the Hollywood Hills, watching the dreamers who arrive in town with hearts full of hope. They say that at night, under the pale light of the moon, you can hear him asking the next willing soul, "Do you want to be remembered forever?" Hollywood is a place where dreams come true, but at what cost? Hargrave and Lillian Hayes' stories are just one piece of the puzzle, a reminder that glory can carry an unimaginable price. After all, how far would you go to achieve eternity? Lillian Hayes, the star who became Shadow. Lillian Hayes was the face of hope in Hollywood, a symbol of what the city promised its boldest dreamer. At age 19, she was discovered in a Los Angeles diner while singing for a small group of friends. With her angelic beauty and magnetic charisma, Lillian quickly became a phenomenon. In a matter of months, the young woman went from unknown to the protagonist of some of the most important films of the time, winning the hearts of millions. But, like so many stories in Hollywood, the glare of the cameras hid deep shadows. Lillian often said that her success seemed magical, something she herself barely understood. Few knew that his meteoric rise began after a meeting with the enigmatic Alexander Hargrave. It was one night at a party in the Hollywood Hills that Hargrave approached. He was an imposing figure with a smile that seemed to know the world's secrets. "You have the shine that the stars envy," he said in a voice that seemed to echo. In his mind, Hargrave offered something no one else could, a direct path to artistic immortality. But there was a caveat. Everything has a price, he murmured, holding her gaze as if he were entering her soul. Lillian hesitated. Something about Hargrave felt off, but the promise of greatness was irresistible. Accepting the proposal seemed like the only way to escape the mediocrity she feared so much. Soon after that meeting, Lillian's career exploded. Renowned directors competed for his presence. Iconic roles appeared almost magically, and critics hailed his performance as transcendent. But as success grew, the burst cracks began to appear. Lillian began disappearing for days without explanation. When he returned, he had disturbing marks on his body, cuts in geometric patterns and bruises that he never explained. His behavior changed drastically. The vibrant, lively young woman became dark, withdrawn, and paranoid. "I feel like I've made a pact with something I can't escape," she confided to a friend. One dark night at parties, Lillian would be seen mumbling to herself, appearing to argue with someone no one else could see. During a gala, after receiving a prestigious award, she was caught constantly looking over her shoulder, as if she were running away from an invisible presence. Days later, Lillian's body was found in the Hollywood Reservoir. Police concluded it was suicide, but letters left at his apartment told a much darker story. In one of the messages, Lillian described an inhuman shadow that had followed her since the beginning of her meteoric rise. "I feel like something stole my soul," he wrote. The studios quickly hushed up the case, fearing a scandal that could tarnish their image. But the rumors persisted. They said that Hargrave, gone as mysteriously as he appeared, was more than a man. He was something beyond human understanding, an agent of forces that demand high prices for dreams. Realized in the following years, nightwalkers in the Hollywood Hills reported feeling an unsettling press. Some say they saw a female figure dressed in white standing in the distance with a lost look, as if looking for something she will never find again. The tragedy of Lillian Hayes has not been forgotten. She became a grim reminder that fame, for all its glitz, can be a dangerous path. How many bright promises become shadows in the search for immortality? Hollywood, after all, is a city of dreams and nightmares. Cursed films between reality and nightmare. Hollywood is known for manufacturing dreams, but some films seem to bring something much darker than entertainment. Behind the cameras, stories of inexplicable tragedies, mysterious accidents, and disturbing coincidences emerge, creating a legacy that no one dares to forget. Among these tales, few are as unsettling as those about productions marked by curse. The Haunted House franchise, launched in the 1980s, was supposed to be just another success in the growing horror film market. However, from the beginning, behind the scenes were marked by strange incidents. Equipment failed inexplicably, lights flickered or went out for no reason, and cameras picked up whispers in an unknown language that no one on set could identify. Technicians reported a constant feeling of being watched, even when the studio was empty. Sarah Dempsey, the child actress who played the child protagonist, was the central figure in this production. At 12 years old, she moved audiences with a performance that seemed to transcend her age. But Sarah never got to see the release of the third film. During filming, she was struck by a mysterious illness, which developed quickly and led to her death. Doctors were stumped, unable to determine a definitive cause. His death shook the cast and crew, intensifying rumors that the franchise was cursed. These rumors gained traction when it was discovered that real bones had been used in an iconic scene from the first film. The decision was made to give the production more authenticity, but occult experts have suggested that it unleashed a dark energy that cursed the I-Team. Since then, serious accidents, bouts of depression, and unexplained deaths have dogged cast and crew members. For many, Haunted House wasn't just a horror film. It was an open portal to something incomprehensible. Another equally disturbing case is that of the film Lilith's Legacy, directed by acclaimed filmmaker Edward Grayson. The work, which delved into themes of demonic possession and occult rituals, was hailed as a landmark in psychological horror cinema. However, the events surrounding its production and release eclipsed its fame. Margaret Carson, Grayson's wife and creative consultant on the film, was brutally murdered by members of a cult who claimed to have been inspired by the rituals depicted in the film. Grayson, devastated by the loss, abandoned his career and isolated himself from the public. In his last interview, he stated some stories were not meant to be told. Both cases raised disturbing questions about how the search for authenticity and art can cross dangerous boundaries. There are those who say that films like these attract energies that cannot be controlled, as if the themes explored open doors that should remain closed. Others believe that the tragic events are just coincidences amplified by the public's fascination with macabre stories. Decades later, the tragedies associated with these productions still echo. Obsessed fans continue to try to unravel what happened behind the scenes, while curious people visit the filming locations, hoping to feel something that explains the mysteries. But perhaps the real curse lies not just in the films, but in the insatiable curiosity they arouse. A dark reflection of human nature. After all, how far are we willing to go to explore the unknown? In Hollywood, the line between fiction and reality has never been thinner. The control system in the Golden Age stars on invisible chains. During Hollywood's Golden Age, studios were veritable empires, governed by executives with absolute control over their stars. The public saw icons of perfection on the screen. But behind the glamour, there was a relentless machine that crushed freedom in the name of profit and reputation. Abusive contracts, constant surveillance, and psychological manipulation were just some of the tools used to shape artists. Evelyn Grant, discovered at age 16 in a beauty pageant, was the embodiment of Hollywood promise. With her angelic appearance and undeniable talent, she quickly won over audiences, starring in box office hits and becoming the face of luxury advertising campaigns. But the reality behind her beaming smile was much darker. To meet the grueling demands of filming, Evelyn was forced by the studios to adopt a brutal routine. Amphetamines to keep her awake during long journeys, and barbiturates to induce sleep at night became part of her daily life. This cycle, relentless and inhumane, began to affect his physical and mental health. But any request for relief was seen as an unacceptable weakness. "You are the fantasy of millions," the executives would say coldly, whenever she tried to get it off her chest. Stars have no right to fail. Evelyn was monitored in every aspect of her life. Who she met, how she dressed, and even who she should be romantically involved with were decisions made by others. Your own identity has been replaced by a carefully constructed image. When Evelyn tried to resist, demanding more control over the roles she accepted and breaks from filming, the response was swift and cruel. She once opened up to a friend about how she felt trapped in a golden castle, a world that was beautiful on the outside but suffocating on the inside. Days later, this friend was fired and banned from the industry. A clear message about the consequences of challenging the system. Scared and isolated, Evelyn abandoned any attempt at rebellion. But her deterioration was inevitable. At age 28, Evelyn was found unconscious in her apartment. The official version claimed accidental overdose, but letters discovered years later told a different story. In the messages, Evelyn spoke of exhaustion and despair, describing herself as a prisoner of a dream that turned into a nightmare. Evelyn's case was quickly hushed up by the studios eager to preserve the image of perfection she represented. However, his story resonated among the stars of the time, becoming a silent warning about the dangers of a system that prioritized profit over humanity. Although the Golden Age has ended, its dark lessons persist today. Comprehensive contracts, social networks, and digital surveillance have replaced the physical restrictions of the past. Stars continue to be monitored and pressured, molded to meet the impossible expectations of a society that consumes perfect images. The glamour of Hollywood still fascinates, but behind its twinkling lights is a system that often consumes those it creates. Evelyn Grant's story is a grim reminder that for many, the price of fame is invisible but utterly devastating. Chains that bind even the brightest souls. Disappearances and conspiracies. Hollywood's lost secrets. Behind the glamorous shine of Hollywood, where dreams seem to come true, there are stories that never find closure. Enigmatic disappearances and unsolved deaths are the shadows that obscure the brightness of the stars. For many, these tragedies are not coincidences, but part of something more sinister hidden beneath the industry's glittering surface. Jane Holloway, a promising actress of the 1950s, was the picture of rising success. Her bright eyes and natural talent won over directors and producers, and critics hailed her performances as authentic and moving. With each new role, it seemed like Jane was poised to become one of the biggest stars of the time. But at the height of her career, she mysteriously disappeared. On the night of her last public appearance, Jane confided to friends that she had a crucial meeting. "It's the opportunity I was waiting for. This will change everything," she said with a mixture of anxiety and excitement. Hours later, witnesses reported seeing her get into a black car, leaving a studio. She was never seen again. Days later, her bag was found in a nearby park, with only a hastily written note. "Mark, I can't wait any longer. I'm going to see you now. Who was Mark? No person with that name was identified among his contacts. The case quickly went cold, with authorities citing a lack of evidence. But behind the scenes in the industry, speculation has exploded. Some claimed that Jane had been the victim of a powerful circle in Hollywood, a group involved in blackmail and clandestine practices. Others suggested she had uncovered secrets that could upend careers and ruin reputations, making her an inevitable target. One disturbing theory was that Mars was a codename used by someone of great influence, who would never be directly implicated. Decades earlier, another horrific case marked Hollywood. Caroline Blake, known as Black Rose for her unique and mysterious beauty, was brutally murdered in 1947. Her body was found in a vacant lot, mutilated in such a grotesque way that the scene shocked even the most experienced investigators. The case attracted international attention, but, like Jane's, was shelved without answers. Rumors surrounded Caroline's death, suggesting she was the victim of a secret group that used its influence to protect its dark interests. Some believe the murder had ritualistic characteristics, a sign that darker forces were at play. Confidential documents that emerged years later indicated that Caroline was involved in a confidential studio project, but the details remain unclear to this day. The similarities between the cases of Jane Holloway and Caroline Blake are disturbing. Young actresses at the height of their beauty and talent, they both disappeared or died under inexplicable circumstances, leaving behind only insufficient clues. Many believe these events are pieces of a larger pattern, one that involves powerful people silencing those who threaten the delicate balance of an industry built on secrets. Other, smaller cases reinforce the sense of danger that surrounds Hollywood. Among them are disappearances like that of Emma Lowell, a screenwriter whose work defied convention and whose body was never found. Stories of minor actors who have gone missing while trying to report abuse also fuel theories that there are dark forces controlling the industry narrative. These disappearances raise uncomfortable questions. Does the price of success in Hollywood involve risks that the public will never know about? Or was it all coincidence? Isolated tragedies that, due to their inexplicable nature, fuel conspiracy theories. The Hollywood Hills still hold secrets. Theorists say there are reports of night walkers feeling an unsettling presence near the old, abandoned studios. Others claim to hear whispers carried on the wind, forgotten names echoing in an environment that for decades consumed the dreams of so many. The names of Jane Holloway and Caroline Blake continue to be whispered behind the scenes. They are reminders that not all that glitters is gold. Under the glare of the Hollywood lights, dark secrets remain buried, protected by forces that prefer silence to the truth. After all, how many stories were erased so that the show could continue without interruption? Connections to the occult pacts and the shadows of Hollywood, the land of dreams, has always had a dark side, where the brightness of the stars is overshadowed by rumors of occult practices. Since its early years, stories of supernatural pacts and esoteric rituals have circulated behind the scenes of the industry. For some, the meteoric success of many stars cannot be explained by talent or luck alone. There are deeper forces at play. Victor Parson, an enigmatic figure from the 1940s, symbolizes the intersection between mysticism and the power of Hollywood. A renowned scientist and practitioner of the occult, he lived in an isolated mansion in the hills of Los Angeles, a place surrounded by mystery. More than a home, his estate was a temple to esoteric ritual, attracting artists, directors and screenwriters who sought something beyond inspiration, absolute success, and artistic immortality. Parsons' ceremonies were described as intense and disturbing experiences. By candlelight, ancient symbols were drawn on the floor with meticulous precision. Chants in forgotten languages echoed off the walls, while participants felt an almost palpable energy all around. For many, these rituals were a chance to access something supernatural, but the cost seemed uncertain. Among the most famous attendees was Daniel Crowe, a visionary director known for transforming human emotions into unforgettable images. Crowe said his ideas came from dreams, too vivid to be mere daydreams. But behind the scenes, it was whispered that his creativity was fueled by Parsons' rituals. It was on one of these nights that something unexpected happened. Witnesses reported that the candles flickered for no apparent reason, and a tall, almost indefinable, shadowy figure appeared in the center of the room. The atmosphere was filled with an oppressive feeling, and the ritual was abruptly interrupted. Shortly thereafter, Crowe announced his most ambitious project, promising a film that would forever change the history of cinema. But he never came to realize that vision. Days before filming began, Crowe was found dead in his home. His body had strange marks on his hands and wrists, as if something had held him tightly. Police ruled his death a suicide, but those who knew the circles he moved in believed his ambition led him to cross a line that should never be crossed. Another name often associated with Parsons' encounters was Evelyn Moore. Moore, an actress, whose career soared following her alleged involvement in the May rituals. While filming her biggest hit, colleagues noticed that Evelyn constantly wore a locket with unusual symbols and muttered words in an unknown language before her scenes. Her performance was considered revolutionary, but Evelyn left the industry soon after, claiming that something inside her had changed forever. She isolated herself from the public and never explained what kept her away from the cameras. The story of Parson and his followers raises disturbing questions about the limits of human ambition. How far would you go to earn your place in the spotlight? Are these stories just rumors? Or do they reflect something deeper, an energy that has shaped Hollywood since its beginning? Some believe that the Hollywood environment itself is charged with an energy accumulated over decades of excessive ambition and tragedy. There are reports of hikers in the hills hearing whispers in the wind, voices that seem to repeat forgotten words. Others say that old film studios, especially abandoned ones, carry an unsettling atmosphere, as if they are haunted by dreams gone wrong. These accounts reinforce the sense that Hollywood is not just a place, but an energy field where unknown forces and human desires collide. Parsons' rituals are a reminder that the pursuit of greatness can lead to dangerous choices. After all, what really powers camera's brilliance? Is it talent, hard work, or something that should remain in the shadows? As the lights of Hollywood continue to shine, the whispers of the Los Angeles hills invite us to reflect on what really lies behind the spectacle. How far would you go to achieve artistic immortality? And what would be the final price? The curse of modern technology. Digital ghosts of Hollywood. Over the years, Hollywood has adapted to technological changes, revolutionizing the way entertainment is produced and consumed. However, behind the allure of these innovations, a dark side emerges. Tools like deepfakes and artificial intelligence, originally designed to expand creative possibilities, are now used to manipulate narratives, control public images, and perpetuate dominance over artists, even after they are dead. One particularly disturbing case involves Thomas Reed, a legendary 1980s actor whose untimely death left fans and colleagues devastated. Decades later, Reed returned to the spotlight in an unexpected way as the face of an advertising campaign. The perfection of his digital recreation was so impressive that many believed he had returned to life. But the reality was much more disturbing. Leaked documents revealed that the studios had used deepfakes to recreate Reed, exploiting an obscure clause in his contract that granted eternal rights to his image. Not even his family was consulted. To make matters worse, the manipulation was so convincing that it fooled not only the public, but also former colleagues, who felt as if they were interacting with a virtual ghost. This incident raised alarming ethical questions. How far is it acceptable to recreate artists who cannot consent? The technology used to maintain Reed's legacy has become a tool to exploit him, erasing the boundaries between reality and fiction. But manipulation is not limited to the past. Today, living celebrities face a new era of digital surveillance. Social networks, managed by public relations agents, carefully shape their images. Algorithms decide which stories reach audiences, while coordinated campaigns make or break reputations in minutes. When a star dares to step out of life, manipulated videos and deepfakes are used to discredit them, creating narratives that serve the industry's interests. A former employee of a major production company, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that deepfake technology is also being used to erase traces of scandals. It's not just about recreating performances, he said. We're talking about rewriting history. Compromising videos are doctored, faces are replaced, and evidence disappears in a matter of clicks. This new reality has brought to light an even deeper question. Who really controls Hollywood narratives? In the Golden Age, it was the studios and their abusive contracts. Today, chains are not physical but invisible, maintained by technology that decides what is seen, heard, and remembered. Digital transformation promised creative freedom, but it revealed a cruel face. In the age of deepfakes and artificial intelligence, Hollywood doesn't just create stories, it manipulates them, erasing boundaries between what's real and what's fiction. As the public marvels at technological wizardry, one question persists. If everything can be manipulated, what is still authentic in the world of entertainment? Perhaps the answer is buried beneath layers of codes, contracts, and conveniences, leaving us with only one certainty. In the search for control, even reality can become unrecognizable. The paranormal in Hollywood echoes of lost stars. Hollywood is more than a dream factory. It is a place where shadows seem to come to life, haunting the traces of a past marked by tragedies and excessive ambitions. Over the years, stories of hauntings and unexplained phenomena have emerged, linking Hollywood glamour to something much darker, echoes of lives cut short. The Hotel Avalon, a landmark from the Golden Age, is the scene of one of the most disturbing stories. Evelyn Grant, one of classic cinema's brightest stars, frequently stayed in room 2. 30 decades after her death, staff and guests continue to report frightening encounters. Mirrors in the room show Evelyn's reflection for a brief moment, only to disappear during the early hours of the morning. A sad melody is heard in the hallways. Evelyn's unmistakable voice, as if singing to an invisible audience. Another place shrouded in mystery is the Hollywood sign, which has become a symbol of the American dream, but also its dominant dangers. In 1932, Jane Holloway, a young actress whose dreams were crushed by rejection, climbed the sign and jumped to her death. Since then, visitors have reported feeling an unsettling presence. Many say they have seen a pale figure, dressed in white, who disappears into thin air when approached. It's as if Jane is still trapped there, seeking the recognition she never got in life. But it's not just hotels and tourist attractions that keep secret. Old recording studios, like the Marlowe Studio, are known for their paranormal activity. During night recordings, technicians report equipment failing without explanation, doors slamming on their own, and whispers picked up by microphones. Some believe that these demonstrations are from artists who lived intensely for the industry, but whose lives were taken prematurely by pressure and neglect. These reports raise disturbing questions. Why does Hollywood seem to be such a breeding ground for the paranormal? Some experts suggest that the energy generated by intense ambition and accumulated tragedies create indelible marks on places. It's as if repressed emotions and failed dreams remain etched, echoing where these artists lived and died. While many dismiss these stories as mere urban legends, the consistent number of reports lends creatures guidance to something deeper. Perhaps these hauntings are less about the dead and more about the living. A grim reminder of the toll Hollywood exacts on its dreamers. Night, when the city lights go out, Hollywood's shadows come to life. Whether in the silence of a historic hotel, the decaying glow of a sign, or the empty hallways of an abandoned studio, they whisper stories that the world refuses to forget. Because in Hollywood, past never completely dies. It remains like a reflection in a mirror, waiting for the right moment to reappear. You've just learned about some of Hollywood's most intriguing and darkest stories. But the mysteries don't stop there. If you like these narratives, leave your like to support the channel and help us bring more incredible stories like these. Subscribe now and activate the bell, because we still have many secrets to uncover and you won't want to miss the next chapters. Share this video with your friends who love conspiracy theories, supernatural stories, and dark secrets. The more people hear these stories, the more mysteries we can explore together. And don't forget to leave in the comments which of these stories you found most intriguing and why. Or if you know any mystery that has not yet been revealed, share it with us. Maybe he doesn't appear in the next videos.